The empire is about to collapse. There's a $30 billion reason the Google antitrust ruling will have the search giant very worried now. Welcome to the Midnight Podcast. The empire is about to collapse. A lot of things are happening right now that are shifting the power around us, changing the way that the world works. We're going to be jumping into some of that. Watch the end of the video to understand the reasons why the empire is about to collapse and the implications that this Google ruling is going to have on society. Google has basically been found to be guilty of antitrust in a federal lawsuit, and that does not even count their ad business. This is just for the way that they conduct searches. So watch the end of the video to understand how this is going to affect Google's search engines, as well as their future business in ads. So as you guys can see, there's a $30 billion reason that Google's antitrust ruling will have the search giant very worried right now. And there's so many pieces to this. A federal judge ruled that Google's agreements with Apple and others have anti-competitive effects. A breakup with Apple is just one potential remedy. Google said it plans to appeal. Google projected it could lose $30 billion if it lost its default spot on Apple's devices. So everyone knows right now that this is 100% antitrust. Google is the largest search engine in the world, and they are the default search engine on Apple devices. And it's been like that for years. They pay Apple billions every year so that they could remain the default search engine. And this is and not just Apple, evidently, but other device manufacturers and platforms as well. This is 100% antitrust. And Google has been engaging in this for so long. And their response is, well, if you force us to stop doing this, we'll lose a lot of money. And if we lose a lot of money, it's bad for the company. And if it's bad for the company, it's bad for the consumer. This is crazy. In other words, we need to be allowed to maintain our monopoly on the search engine market, on the search market, or else it's going to have very negative implications on humanity. This is insane stuff, guys. This is crazy. So Google's agreement with Apple and other companies to be their default search engine have violated antitrust law. A federal judge ruled on Monday. Google is a monopolist, wrote U.S. District Judge Amit P. Mehta in the ruling, and it has acted as one to maintain its monopoly. The Department of Justice's case centered on Google's payments to other companies like Apple and Samsung to give its search engine prominence on their devices. Absolutely insane. And many of you already know that Apple and Samsung are the largest two device manufacturers in the world right now. So for most people, it's either you have an Apple or you have a Samsung. Me personally, I right now I have a OnePlus. I love OnePlus, but I also have an Apple device. I also have an iPhone 12 that I use for business. And it's crazy. It's crazy that this is happening, but it's the reality. It is 100% the reality right now that they are paying. They've been doing it for years to be the default search engine on the devices of the two largest phone manufacturers in the world, among others. For Google, there's apparently a very good reason to keep these payments coming, as the search revenue generated is worth billions. According to Monday's filing, the company estimated in 2017 that its default placement across Safari, Firefox, and other browsers drove 54% of its search revenue. That number has only increased. This is, guys, only, oh my gosh. So, if you use Safari, if you use Firefox, this is crazy. It's Google, Google is the default. So essentially they have a monopoly over every smartphone over almost every browser. Essentially, the only browser that your mainstream browser. Don't say Brave. Brave is not a browser that people are using like that. You know, Firefox, Safari, you know, they have a monopoly. The only browser that's not currently a part of that is Microsoft Edge, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm on Edge right now. I use Edge a lot. It's my default browser, but that the reason why I use Edge so much is because of the artificial intelligence, because it has Copilot built in, and Copilot is a large part of how I do my work or just do things in general. I'm constantly doing searches, and so it makes more sense for me to have that deep integration with Edge. But this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, guys. I had no idea that they were the default search engine also for Safari and also for Firefox. And they're the default search engine on all Apple devices, so all iPhones, and I would assume that means on all iPads as well. I can't believe it, and on all Samsung devices. This is crazy. And it's actually drives 54% of their search revenue. So they have a hardcore monopoly, and they have been fighting to hold on to their monopoly while claiming that they don't have a monopoly. And that's not just the only place where they hold a monopoly. Like, for example, guys, if you want to, like, smart television manufacturers were actually afraid to build televisions that for other competitors like Amazon Fire TVs. They were afraid to build Amazon Fire televisions because they were worried that it could violate their agreements with Google, which would result in Google dropping them and not allowing them to use their platform and so forth. So basically, if they made televisions that use an alternate operating system, alternate OS, then Google would punish them. And they had to get permission from Google to make Android Fire televisions. Like, this actually happened. This actually happened. Like, holy cow. They are literally they have destroyed competition. They are destroying competition right now. Like, a handful of companies completely cold the markets, and they are blocking everyone else out, even preventing others from manufacturing. If you go to stores and you want to sell, like, oh, you want to sell your phone into, with T-Mobile. Oh, they have deals with T-Mobile in place that prevent other manufacturers and other operating systems from selling their devices there. So you only have two choices. You have Apple and you have Android, and they are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that no one else can enter the market. It's truly so you have no competition, and then they're like, "This is not a monopoly. It's 100% a duopoly," and they're spending billions every year to maintain their duopoly. In particular, Google has a major deal with Apple to keep Google the default search engine on Safari, which runs on iPhone, iPads, and Mac computers worldwide. Okay, so yep. In 2020, Google projected that it would lose between 60% and 80% of its search volume on Apple devices if it were replaced as a default search engine, the filing said. That accounts for between 28.2 billion and 32.7 billion in net revenue losses. That's net revenue. That's massive. That's a massive portion of Google's annual revenue. Google's distribution agreements are exclusive and have anti-competitive effects, Meta wrote. Eddie Q, senior vice president of services at Apple, revealed in court documents earlier this year that Google paid $20 billion in 2022 to secure the spot, which amounted to 17.5% of Apple's operating income. Holy cow. So any remedy that stops or reduces Google's search payments would be bad news for Apple too. Horrible.
Let's break down that statement. You said paid $20 billion in 2020.
See, guys, they're always listening. They're always listening. Like, my Android phone literally just. Do y'all see that? Y'all see that? So Google got pissed off while I'm recording for you. It's my Android phone just literally said, they said pay 20 something. paid 20 billion in 2022. Let's break down that statement. So Google got pissed off. They jumped in. They were pissed off. They're like, listen, you're not being fair to us, all right? You're not being fair to us, so we have something to say. Holy cow, they're always listening, guys. They're always listening to everything that we say. Everything that we say. We are in a police state right now. We are completely under surveillance. Unbelievable. That's never happened to me ever before. That has never happened to me. That's happened with my with my Echo device sometimes, but there it's always listening for things. But that's never ever happened with my Android before. That's never ever. This is the first time this has ever happened with my Android device. Okay, I didn't even know that it could do this. Holy cow! I'm sure it was just coincidental. You know, this is a OnePlus device. Unbelievable. So what happens next? The landmark decision on Monday marked the near conclusion of the DOJ lawsuit against the search company, which was filed in 2020. What happens next is still unknown, as the ruling did not include remedies. Google's president of global affairs, Kent Walker, told Business Insider in a statement that the company plans to appeal. This could be drawn out for a while longer. The ruling will undoubtedly have Google leaders concerned, particularly if remedies include forcing its breakup with Apple. Some experts previously floated a worst-case scenario for Google, where it is barred from bidding for the default position on devices while competitors still can. Although this may be an extreme scenario, even so, anything that pushes Google out of the default spot on Apple devices could be very bad news for the search giant, and it knows it. So it's not just that. That's just one of the things that's just one of the main things that Google is currently worrying about. However, there's more. So Rumble is actually making some huge moves. Rumble.com. X and Rumble file antitrust complaint against Global Ad Group. So Elon Musk's social media platform X filed an antitrust lawsuit against the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, accusing the international advertising group of illegally boycotting companies, including the video sharing site Rumble and other platforms. X Corp CEO Linda Yasario posted a video Tuesday announcing X, formerly known as Twitter, filed a lawsuit against GARM, World Federation advertisers and top members of GARM, such as Mark, CVS Health, Unilever, and Orsted. The suit is joined by Rumble, an alternative video website that to popular platforms like YouTube that conservative influencers laud as a free speech platform. The latest antitrust suit comes from Yasarino, who said she reviewed the House Judiciary Committee's investigation into GARM that found its members directly organized boycotts and used other indirect tactics to target disfavored platforms, content creators, and user organizations in an effort to demonetize and limit certain choices for consumers. The complaint alleges that several key advertisers coordinated by GARM conspired to boycott X by withholding advertising revenue. The complaint contends this alleged action was taken to enforce GARM's brand safety standards and was not in the individual economic interests of the advertisers, but rather a collective effort to pressure X into compliance. Now, guys, something huge is happening that no one is talking about, and I'm going to bring this up because I'll be very, very clear because, the internet is forever. I talked a lot of shit about Rumble. I said that that's where the bad kids went. I said I didn't want to go to Rumble. There were a lot of you that were pressuring me to go to Rumble. And I refused. I cried. I stomped my feet about it, and I really threw a hissy fit. I really, really threw a hissy fit about it. And now I'm shocked at some of the things I'm discovering. So YouTube is basically pushing their content creators, their conservative content creators, or content creators who are not just simply not aligned with the woke narrative off the platform. And what's happening now is pretty unbelievable. I'm looking at Rumble, and I'm seeing some really shocking things. So this is Rumble right now. This is Newsmax on Rumble. Newsmax is a massive, massive news corporation. They have 1.21 million followers on Rumble right now. Okay? 1.21 million, guys. That's insane. Those are crazy numbers on an alternative platform, okay? This tells us that a large number of people have already transitioned to Rumble when you can have that many. Let's check out Russell Brand. Russell has 1.96 million on Rumble. I am in shock. I did not think that anyone could ever, put a chink in YouTube's armor. And yet, here you are. This guy has almost 2 million followers on Rumble. 2 million. Okay? People are following, people are engaged, people are watching videos on that platform. All right? And I mean, it just keeps on going from there. Steven Crowder, 1.58 million. This honestly means that Rumble has the platform. They have the people. They have the users. All they really need right now is the ad revenue. Sneeko was banned from YouTube. I mean, 400,000 followers. Dude has 400,000 followers, evidently, and he said that he became a millionaire a while ago. All right, and if you look at how many views a lot of these videos are getting, 31,000, 200,000 views just 2 days ago. Y'all see that? All right. Another video, 32,000, 3 days ago, 174,000 views. So these views are getting crazy. These videos are getting crazy views on Rumble. Crazy views on Rumble. And that all translates to money. Because for those of you that don't know, for as YouTubers, the majority of our money for most of us doesn't come from AdSense. It comes from selling services, products, and services. Sure, there are some who live off of YouTube AdSense revenue. You're told never to do that. But it's about the views. And it's about being able to monetize those views and gain things like sponsorship. So, for example, those views all count. Those views all count. And as sponsors begin moving over to Rumble, they don't really care so much about YouTube in the sense like, oh, well, it's on YouTube. No, they care about the metrics. They care about the analytics. They care about how many views are you getting? What is your watch time on this platform? How engaged are people? How many subscribers do you have? And they're going to look at this and say, well, you have a lot of subscribers. You have a lot of engagement. All right. So, yeah, we're going to start sponsoring you over there. And this lawsuit now with Elon Musk, that's only going to drive, it's going to this has the potential, if it succeeds, of breaking up the advertising cartel and forcing advertisers to, start advertising on these platforms. This is a big deal. This is a very, very big deal. I feel like, I'm getting left behind a little bit because, I really didn't want to go to Rumble. Guys, you don't know how much work it takes to move to a new platform. I mean, it takes a lot of work to move to a new platform, to build your base up on a new platform, and then to continue to work on multiple platforms. For example, if I move to Rumble, that's the end of it for me, where I have to now have essentially a small team in place to continue to actively work on both platforms. A team. And many of you don't care, oh, this is not real work. Guys, it's let me tell you something. Being on YouTube, you have to have a lot of skill sets. You have to be able to edit videos. You have to be able to do research. Okay? You have to be able to find content. Some of you are like, oh, you're making these are just response videos. Do you know how much work it takes to find videos to do responses to? Do you understand how to to do the searches, and where do you even find this content if you want to do stuff like this? No one teaches you this. You have to spend so much time learning how to do these things. Okay? On my YouTube channel, guys, I have to make 3 thumbnails for every single video that you see now. Every video that you watch on YouTube, there are 3 thumbnails made. 3 different thumbnails. And then YouTube basically shows you guys different thumbnails, and it then checks to see which thumbnails are getting the most watch time, not views, watch time. And depending on which thumbnail gets the most watch time, meaning people are like, okay, this thumbnail best aligns with what the video is about, then they begin showing that thumbnail. And I have to do that for every video. I have to design 3 different thumbnails for every video. You know how much work that takes? All right. And in every thumbnail that you see now, most of them, I have to use AI to design. You like those, like you guys like the whole GTA look images, right? Where they're all like depicting what the video is about. Like, for example, if this video is about women are getting arrested because men are not paying on dates, I have to design a thumbnail using AI that specifically shows and depicts that happening. Okay? Or if men are walking away from society as it collapses, I have to design a thumbnail using AI that shows men walking away from society as it collapses. And sometimes I have to go through multiple different revisions. And then that's just creating the image. And then I have to take the image and do the graphic design work to get the image to blend into the thumbnail, and then creating the text and everything else. And I have to do that 3 times using a variety of different skill sets that I all had to learn. This is why, like, Gen X doesn't talk about it. Like, Gen X just gets things done. It's a lot of insane work. I wake up and I start working, and I keep working until I'm exhausted, and then I have to go to sleep. And sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I could get just a little bit more work done. A lot of times, like, I have to stop doing it now because it's starting to get to me, but a lot of times I will say, like, I'm not going to leave. I still do it. I can't stop doing. I still do it. Like, I'm not going to go pee until I get this done. And 1 hour will go by, and it's like, okay, the work is still not done yet. Angry. So you're going to have to stay here. And before you can go pee. It's only if I'm about to piss myself where I'll say, nah, I gotta go pee. I'm going to go pee. It's like, it's going to be over. All right. Like, this is how it is. All right. You have to have that kind of work ethic. Like, I mean, guys, when I started my YouTube channel a little over a year ago, I hit monetization within about a month because I know what I'm doing on YouTube. My first full month on YouTube, I was on, most people don't make money on YouTube until far into it. My first month on YouTube, I made $1,000. That was month 1. If that doesn't, and I'm not going to tell you how much money I make now. I make a very nice livable income. But, when you monetize it takes a lot of people, it takes them sometimes years just to monetize their channel. But I'm an expert. I've been on YouTube for 10 years. So I know how to monetize a channel rapidly using techniques that I've developed over the years. But I'm going to tell you the truth is, it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard work. But the fact is that because I've gained these skills over years, I know how to do it rapidly. I know how to put out content rapidly. But guess what? I still have to do the work. You still have to have the skill sets. My YouTube course that's coming out, right, guys? This YouTube course costs thousands of dollars to develop. Thousands. It's already over $3,000 to develop this course for you guys. Over $3,000 to develop this course for you, and still counting. Okay? So many components to it. Like, if you want to do this, you're going to have to invest. You are going to have to invest time and effort into it. All right? Because there's this notion like you should be handed everything, and, a truck driver is more valuable than a YouTuber. Really? And yet, what if I don't wake up? Guys, if I don't wake up and I don't do my job, this is my job that I've chosen to do, right? And if I don't, what happens if I don't wake up and do my job? You guys start complaining in the comments. Some of you will move on and go watch other content, but many of you won't. You'll start complaining in the comments like, it's been 7 days since you released a video, Angry. 7 days. Because this is a community that I've built for you guys. It is 100% a community I've built for you, where you can pop in, you can talk to one another, you can exchange ideas. You know that you will always have videos every single day to look forward to. Some of you guys complain if my videos are too long. Think about that. Angry. This is a 30-minute video. I prefer 10 minutes. And I'm like, bro, I released 5 videos today. All right? 5 videos. 4 of them were between 10 and 15 minutes long. Only one of them was 30 minutes. What are you crying about? I don't care. I like my videos concise. Like, think about that very carefully. You cannot please everyone. But I'm just kind of like showing you the amount of hard work that goes into content creation. And a lot of this is now transitioning to Rumble. You know what the implications are going to be? The implications are going to be that YouTube potentially is going to lose. It's already happening. It's already happening. You know, they demonetized Fresh and Fit. They demonetized Just Pearly Things. They demonetized Russell Brand. Russell Brand, you know, there was all this garbage in the media that came out. This guy has never been charged with a crime. And we haven't heard anything else about any of this stuff that happened. And his monetization was taken away. And then in the UK, they were demanding that that Rumble demonetize him as well. And they refused. So what's happening now, guys? They're going to lose. They're losing their conservative. They are losing their conservative and their independent audience. Like, for example, there's the skeptic community. I do not like the skeptics. I can't stand them. Okay? Because the skeptics are not, many of them are not actually conservatives. They're basically alt-right. The alt-right is like kind of nasty. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. If you just put it out there like that. Like that's where the people like you just don't want to deal with hang out. But they're losing even the skeptics. They're losing that entire community. People who are like really more left than they are right. But you know, just because they don't agree with everything on the left, they're now right. If they're not far left, they're now right. And they're losing these people. They're losing everyone except for the mainstream media. Like this is what's happening. Like YouTube is a platform that relies heavily on user generated content, and they know it. And they're losing. Guys, I have comic book channels that discuss only comic books that are being censored on YouTube and complaining about it. They're like, they're like angry. All I talk about is comic books, and they're treating me like a conspiracy theorist. Bro, I was just doing a breakdown of Deadpool. Deadpool is a troll, and they're like, yeah, this video, we don't agree with it. All right, no monetization for you or limited ads for you, bro. There were no curses in this. Yeah, but we don't like what you're saying. All right, little bro, we don't like what you're saying. Like they're losing everyone. For when you look at Rumble right now, you're seeing the numbers on Rumble when it comes to conservatives on there, and you're beginning to see others, not even conservatives, just not mainstream media moving over to Rumble. Like YouTube. These platforms are nothing without their content creators. They are nothing without their content creators. And I'll tell you this right now. I could literally see the CEO of Rumble throwing Mr. Beast off the platform just like that. Just like that. Like YouTube cannot survive without Mr. Beast. And then you look at the garbage that Chris Tyson has been doing, and people like Dr. Disrespect, and there's some really nasty stuff, EDP level stuff. And you realize that I could literally see the CEO of Rumble just tossing Mr. Beast off, like, listen, we don't give a damn about you like that. And then and the reason why is because of the stuff that Mr. Beast is involved in. There's certain things like you just don't do. And Mr. Beast, like all that chocolate bar stuff, it's directed at kids. Like they're really directing that audience at kids. And then you find out what Chris Tyson was doing, and you're like, yeah, this is not. I don't want my kids around him. I don't want my kids dealing with Mr. Beast or anyone like Carl. After all the garbage that's come out regarding Mr. Beast and the stuff that Mr. Beast knew and the stuff that he was saying online, no, I don't think so. Guys, the empire is about to collapse, because after this happens, keep in mind that now they're also going after YouTube's ad business. This was a separate lawsuit. This is a search-based lawsuit. All right, so they're going after YouTube's law. They're going after YouTube for their monopoly in terms of search, right? But they're also going after in a separate lawsuit alleging that YouTube has a monopoly on advertising. All right, and they probably will succeed on that as well. I might be wrong, but they are going after them. They're also going after Apple. They're going after Amazon. They're going after Facebook. A lot of these companies may end up getting broken up, and they know this, so they've set up like things to make it complicated and difficult to break them up. But there's no competition. For example, Facebook has no competition. There's no other social media platform other than Facebook, especially with things like Facebook groups. Those are basically like small networks in and of themselves. Like, why would you go and try to even compete and create your own social network when there are Facebook groups? Facebook groups has basically replaced forums as well. It basically has monopolized on everything. It's wiped out so many different industries. You cannot compete with Facebook. There are no after they purchased Instagram and WhatsApp, they have a massive, an absolutely massive monopoly in this space. Instagram went from a video sharing platform to a social media site. It is a social media site. All right, one of the largest in the world. And there's not much you can really do about it other than break them up. That's the honest to goodness. There's no competition. Microsoft tried this garbage with Linux in the 90s, where they wanted to shut down Linux because they were like, "Oh, Linux is anti-competitive. Linux is violating our copyright or our intellectual property." And they basically now what they are, they're like, "Oh, we love Linux," because Linux is their excuse to say that there's still competition. Because they almost got shut down. They almost got broken up in the 90s. And then they learned their lesson. The thing is that companies like Google and so forth, they haven't learned their lessons. They have all these contracts in place, and they try to make it look like they're not anti-competitive, but they are anti-competitive. Because they have contracts in place that basically say that you cannot do business with anyone else, or they do it in such a way where it's like, if you do business with anyone else, we'll pull the rug out from under you. We're not saying we'll do it for sure, but do you really want to mess with us? And companies are like, well, they're depending on the scraps. They're depending on the scraps from Google. So what are they going to do? Are they going to mess around and find out? We may be facing a massive, absolutely massive future of breakups, of serious breakups, where these companies are gonna, like, look at the gaming industry, where it just keeps on consolidating, where you end up with just like a handful of companies that that own all of these IPs. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. These companies are just consolidating and consolidating and consolidating. I mean, guys, in the modern day era right now, how many phone companies do we have? We have 3. We have T-Mobile, we have AT&T, and we have Verizon. We used to have a duopoly, and then we had like the smaller carriers, Sprint and T-Mobile, and T-Mobile's merged with Sprint, and they did some very interesting things. And now T-Mobile is being sued because they're basically being called out for violating their promises to, like, not jack up prices and be anti-competitive. And that's exactly what they've now become. The very same thing that they promised not to be, they've turned into that mammoth. Even competitors, what are they doing? For example, Metro PCS, Mint Mobile, and there's another one I cannot remember, Lifeline. All of, guys, they own all of these. They own all of these prepaid service providers. They own all of them. It's crazy. All right. And they try to push you they basically try to push you to T-Mobile. But they own all of these prepaids, and they just keep on gobbling up more and more and more of them. So they're creating less competition in the markets. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how this is even allowed. All right. They just keep on buying out their competitors. and then they raise the prices. We're gonna see a lot of breakups in the future potentially. I mean, we're entering into a world where we're under mass surveillance and a world where no one will want to live. By the way, guy, and that's really the answer. That it's going to be a future of more people getting pissed off and finally saying, yeah, we're done with these platforms. Like, guys, I'm beginning to like my newsletter. I'm working on my newsletter for you guys right now. It's like I'm seeing so much success with that newsletter, and I don't put in as much work as I really should on the newsletter. And I'm seeing so much success with that newsletter where I'm like, holy cow, like, is it even worth it? Like, that's me diversifying my income, but it's just crazy how much success I'm beginning to see with that newsletter. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have more people just saying, I'm tired, moving over to Rumble. And if there's one thing that you know is like YouTube does not have goodwill with its content creators. Outside of people like MKBHD, Mr. Beast, and the very top people on the platform, they don't have goodwill, especially from the Susan era. And it's like they acted on the platform like they literally don't like their creators. And what will end up happening is they will end up losing a lot of those creators because people are afraid to speak. People are afraid that YouTube will come after them. Guys, they're going to lose a lot of their creators, and they'll act like, well, we don't care. But there's no goodwill without trust. If there is no trust, there's nothing. There's really, really nothing without trust. And after the era of Susan, where she was on the platform, and man, everyone was just suffering. Like we were being punished for everything and anything. Like, you don't know the nightmare that we all went through. It's still going on. I want to say it's not as bad, but it's still there. And we've all kind of learned how to kind of like dance in circles around like narcissism. But it's still there. Where you wake up every day and you just have to kind of wonder, like, is this going to be my last day, or is this the beginning of the end? You don't know the things that happen with content creators where we're constantly having to work with our lawyers to deal with different things. Every 5 minutes is some crap, and we have to jump to our lawyers. Oh my gosh. It's so funny because the moment I tell you guys anything that's happening, some of you are like, why are you even complaining? You should just keep that to yourself. Like, and it's like, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't even tell you I don't even tell you half of the things that are going on. All right. You might hear 1%, or less than 1%, because there's always something going on in the back end. That's how it is for most of us content creators. We're always fighting with something, over someone, dealing with this claim or that claim, and we don't tell you what's happening. And you get your content and you're like, oh, it's good. That's all you care about is your content, but you don't even know what's going on with your content creators, with your favorite content creators. Like, producing this content for you guys, it costs thousands of dollars. It costs thousands of dollars. Like, you look at like this YouTube channel has already cost maybe like just to operate the channel for you, to do all the different things, create content for you and everything related, just everything. So like running this business is costing tens of thousands of dollars, and you guys could care less. But it's like, you're like, this is not real work. Guys, there's so much money invested in this. So much money invested in this platform for you guys just to create this content for you. Software, time, everything. And a lot of us are just going to jump ship. That's why it's so important to diversify. I talked a lot of crap about Rumble, but like, yeah, I'm looking at Rumble seriously right now. I'm looking at Rumble seriously. I'm looking at I'm diversifying, and I'm thinking about Kick as well. Like maybe doing some game streaming on Kick for you guys. See if you guys would enjoy that. But yeah, guys, the empire is about to collapse. If you're enjoying the content, guys, on this channel, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. Guys, what do you think regarding all of this? The empire is about to collapse. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.